Okay, so I'm going to do this series and it's going to be called Defying History. It's basically about Japan, where it's at and where it's come from, and the relationship between those two times, and also about Africa, about where it is and where it's come from. Being an African studies minor, I've learned a lot about how we as Africans peg our development, rather base our development or lack thereof to our colonial history and that background, and how we sometimes excuse our shortcomings to the fact that we're colonized and oh, we're so young and things such as that. And I'm coming to learn and understand Japanese history and how they have defied the expectations that have been put on it because of what happened to them back in the day, pretty much their history. And I've been flawed, and I shall think I shall continue to be because I've barely scratched the surface. And this series is just about how we as Africans can either use our history or get over our history so that we can move forward. Hatita Shinda, the same place goes round and round. Okay, so I'm going to get right into it. Around 1850s is when what pretty much happens when Europe was now beginning to influence Japan, and Western ideologies and all these economic things were coming into play. And Japan at the time had now to adapt to this whole new way of doing things and thinking and things such as that. And they did. Education became, more westernized, though they still had the Japanese syllabus. Amenities, basic social services, sanitation, housing, and such things improved. The infrastructure became amazing. And that happened between 1868 and 1912, 44 years of what they call the Meiji period. It was this exponential growth. But as a result of this, some scholars have said, came the downfall, because all these vices come with development, from unemployment to crime rate increasing, and even social issues, morality, and things such as that come as a result of development, and especially at the rate that Japan was moving at. So between 1931 and 1945, especially wars like China, Manchuria, and of course the Second World War fell into this period. And by 1945, Japan was gone. It was no more. Cities devastated to the ground, flat. In fact, it's said that America destroyed Japan so much there were no more targets. Zilisha. In fact, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and two other cities had been set aside, you know, they're not to be bombed, to prepare for the whole atomic bomb saga. So 1945, Japan was gone. And if anyone had told you that in the 21st century it would be the second largest economy, part of the G7, G8, whatever, none would believe you. They'd have laughed you to the bank, whatever they laugh people to. But sure enough, between 1946 and 1989, another 44 years, Japan rebuilt itself and it made a comeback. And almost to validate its return, smack in the middle of that period in 1964, Japan hosted its first World Olympics in Tokyo, and that was big. It was to say we're back and we're back for good. And I think, and that is what is amazing about, I think, the history of Japan and what it has become as a result. Everyone expected those guys are done for, and they cannot make anything of themselves. But look at Japan now, and they did it twice, two periods of 44 years, less than 5 decades, and they were able to build themselves. And so I think my question and the issue really is here, is that can it be luck? Of course not. There's no chance, there's no luck. I believe there's a formula. And that's what this series is about. It's about discovering what that formula is, probably through this experience of mine, because I'm sure people have written books about it. And that formula being a combination of the social, political, cultural, and economic fabric And I'm hoping to just believe, even to make myself believe that as an African, and as an African who cares for Africa, we can get over our history, we can get over our past, and develop and run the world. Yeah. So I believe we can defy history because, in essence, that is what Japan did. It defied its own history. So keep it locked here and we'll see where this journey goes. I hope it works because I could run out of material, Yani, so soon. But fingers crossed. Yeah? Cool.